about simplicity versus essential complexity. We've all heard people say, just keep it simple. But until when? Because I mentioned autism earlier. I grew up with undiagnosed autism. So throughout my upbringing, throughout my early careers, my brain was running on overdrive, trying to understand what everyone else seemed to capture so easily. But I have 17 questions, so I must be slow. I must be dumb. So let me try to catch up. And I'm going to ask myself all these questions. I'm going to learn all these things. And then when I start trying to speak what I believe everyone else already understands because they're not asking these questions. So I'm asking these questions from a place of, well, clearly I'm the dumb one. So let me ask the question very precisely because I know you already understand it. It was taken the wrong way, as in, I'm trying to be too smart, you're trying to make it too difficult. And so I'm like, I still don't know the answers to, okay, I'm just going to figure it out on my own. And I see all of these different opportunities because I care about the people around me when everyone is just trying to keep it simple. So let me take my history out of the way. Some of you have related to that, and some of you do not. In our organizations, there are people who are bringing up, hey, there's some variation that we should probably consider. If your instant reaction is we're just trying to keep it simple, don't make it difficult, you're missing out on how your system might work. You're looking at it and saying, if I press that button, then this happens. If I do that thing, then this happens. If I give this instruction, then this happens. At the next layer deeper, each of those things that you choose may have a stressed part of the system. You do not see that. You're at the leadership level. They see it. And what they're trying to communicate to you is, if your intent is this big picture that we talked about at the very beginning, if the benefits are these 4 things, you can improve the system by this thing that I'm trying to bring up, but I don't know how to tell you about it yet. They're doing their best. So the questions that you need to ask are, this efficiency that you're trying to bring to me, please show me where the efficiency happens. That way, if what they're presenting to you is an efficiency that only resides at their level, if there's actually no other benefit throughout the rest of the system, meaning if you create the efficiency at their level, they now have a lot of slack time. It has costed you X amount of dollars to get that slack time, but that efficiency does not spread to, I can now take on other work that is appropriate for that level. It does not say, and it benefits the customer. If the benefit solely resides here, now you can describe to them why you won't go through with it. Yes, I understand it will make your life easier. I have no extra work to give you, and it costs me this much money. Yes, it makes your work easier, but it still doesn't translate to any goodness for the rest of the department, because whoever's receiving your work will still need 5 months before they can implement it. So I understand it makes it easier at your place, but there's no, the goodness does not carry on. However, if they're saying it makes our life easier and it costs you this much, please consider it. Because it's those efficiencies that gets their brain moving on what else can I suggest. If the change costs very little, they get excited. It's not a benefit towards your big solution, it's a benefit for the entire organization. People will get excited about bringing you solutions that cost so little. I want you to consider this, okay? Take the time to hear it. If it's not something that's opportune, if the thing that you're trying to achieve is so time sensitive, ask them to bring it to you later. Okay. Find a way to teach your middle managers to make time in your schedule to hear these ideas, because even if it's not right for the immediate moment, you want that energy throughout your organization. You want their ideas. You want them. I promise you. I don't have the time to go into all the reasons why, but you want them. You want that energy. You want multiple people coming up with ideas. So it's not necessarily about just keeping it simple. You want to be more broadly minded and saying, yes, I want a little bit of complexity for the right reasons. There's another reason. You want to be able to differentiate between essential complexity and simplicity. Now, child of the 90s, I don't know how many of you are in the same situation, but do you remember the 90s and all of the packages and the value deals? And here's this many features in a product, and you only really want 2 of them, or you only really want 1 of them. But what they were trying to say is, I can give you all of this for this very low price, but I just want the 1 feature, and that will cost me 1/3 of that to just get the 1 thing, but there's no other way for me to get it. And then multiply this to multiple areas of life. Now you have 17 Swiss Army knife tools that have given you some kind of value, but you really didn't need all of those features. So you've got an overload. Where is the simplicity? The simplicity is with the people who are selling it to you, because they only have to sell 1 thing. The simplicity is with the buying of it, because supposedly, I might find a use for these other features. The simplicity is not in the implementation. Now let's say you delegate to someone else who has bought the 17 things. I am delegating to you to give me the solutions that I'm actually asking for. What this is referred to, for some of you who might be thinking about this in a new way, this is about outsourcing. You've outsourced your core features for someone else to produce for you, and they have taken the trouble to get these 17 Swiss Army knives. They know how to use them all, so you've delegated this brain trust to them. It is simple for you, because now you go to someone else. Now what you really need to be good at is explaining to someone else, here is the output I need. You're delegating to someone to be able to speak 2 languages. They need to be able to speak to your organization, your clients, your stakeholders, and know what they need and translate that for the people who are going to produce it to you. That becomes an essential function for you. You are now always dependent on someone else. You are now always dependent on their price strategy. You're now always dependent on the availability of their resources. When you want to make an internal change, you need them. There's a risk here, okay? You've chosen simplicity. The risk is that you've created your competitor. This may not be altogether bad, but if your interest is in your stakeholders, your clients, they have the capabilities, and you do not know how to carry it out. This is what I'm trying to say. If there is a simplicity, your core features of your organization need to always remain your core features. So when you're considering simplicity, just try to think not just in the immediate, not just this project, not just the next 5 years. Think 50 years. What do you want your organization to look like? And those core features need to remain your core features. Now, I understand when people are thinking 50 years in our day and age, this is 2025. When people are thinking about core features, there's the concern of, well, there's all of these advancements. There's no way for us to imagine what that world would be like in 2025. So let's just not waste our time. I would invite you to change your mind on that. Because if you cannot imagine what you would want to do in 25 years, when those improvements come along, they're looking for people to tell them how to use this new technology. If you don't have an idea, if all of your future ideas are based on what is capable today, you have lost the race before you started. You'll always be playing catch up. So you need to start thinking in the farthest terms possible. Because if those far range goals become closer, so be it. You'll be ready. You have thought it through. And then you can reset and say, well, that 25-year goal is now an 8-year goal, or that 25-year goal is now here today. You will be in a more advanced place to be more forward thinking. So I know this looked like a really simple slide. I know it looked like, oh, you're just talking about simplicity and essential complexity. I'm telling you that this is foundational. When you are thinking about your change, you can think about it in the immediate. I have an issue, I would like to solve it. But in the solving of it, think about what other long-range goals you will be having so that you can align your instant need with something that is long-term. Because the last thing you want is to create a now solution that requires you in another year or 2 years to again take everything apart and put it back together because of the new issue. So you want to solve the issues that are right now, but you also want to do it in a way that supports your long-range goals, which means you need to have long-range goals. So, yeah, I think I've given you a lot on that. So, would you like a bonus? A bonus feature when you are planning organizational change. I really want you to consider whether perfection is necessary, or is it okay if people have a past? Because in one way or another, your organization is working with people. I've been asked, it was surprising the way that this came up. Someone asked me, who do you serve? And I was thinking that they were talking about this as in a client avatar or a district of people. You know, am I talking about a particular region? I was thinking in those lines, but then they suggested, what if they do something that you do not agree with? And my response on instant was, I serve everyone. Because I help leaders be less stressed. I want leaders to avoid burnout. Their response came in a way of, well, if the thing that they're burnt out on is very contrary to what, you want, or what is good for this population or that population, I don't know for certain because I've not circled back, but I think you're getting the drift of what I'm saying. What if what the person is doing will come crossways to what I really want to support in a society, in a culture, in a, insert whatever real bright concern that we have. If you're looking at the graphic, my question was, what if we have a past? In the past, and this is in a personal realm, I have dealt with people that have been involved compromised in one way or another in their personal lives, meaning that you're not going to see a lot of reviews in the area. When you think of compromised people, the last thing you want to do is shine a spotlight on them in an issue that is rather raw for them. So I take this with a lot of care. Sometimes people have done messed up things and they don't want to talk about it. Sometimes they've done messed up things because even more messed up things have been done to them and they don't want to talk about that. You take this into a business realm. Some people have done some messed up things and they don't want to talk about it. But they did it because they were so dependent, perhaps fiscally, perhaps socially. They were dependent on others. And so they did what they did. I want to respect the fact that whether it's what a business has chosen to do, or what a leader has chosen to do within a business, or what someone has done in their private lives, whatever reputation they might have, are they ever allowed to change their mind? I mean, it becomes difficult. I understand. Executives in the past, and I'm thinking back to the 90s again. I am in favor of people doing things that are supportive of one another. Hurting children, not okay. Exploiting people, any human, any gender, any ethnicity. I'm not okay with that. As a human, I say no, not okay. Can those people change? I want to say yes. Will people change? Sometimes. But I don't want to say, I personally, I don't want to say I will not work with someone because of what they're doing. I will start to work with someone and I will give my opinion if it so comes out. I will part ways at some point if I cannot be involved in what they're dealing with. But I do not want to look at any industry, any people, and make a judgment offhand that what they're doing is it's difficult. I mean, we'll have a conversation. You working with me takes an application. So we can have that conversation rather quickly without any dollars changing hands. But it concerns me. It concerns me that this is, we're inherently dividing people at very superficial levels based on supposition. And I don't know that we actually want to be divided. I will actually do a different post on this, but I want to take this back to an individual level. Because what our businesses do I don't know the industry that you're in, but I want to introduce to you that we don't have to be as divided as we behave sometimes. So, what happens at the individual level can be present throughout your organization, can be a fractal of what happens between organizations. I just want you to consider it, that maybe the past does not have to mean division forever. Maybe the past informs the way that we behave right now and our plans to behave in the future. But it does not have to require such stark divides of I cannot be associated with you because, and I'm thinking about this again, both at a personal level and at a business level. Be careful with perfection, Some people make their entire careers about being perfect and never having a bad mark and always getting the best reviews. But when it comes down to it, a person with that kind of history at senior levels in an organization, that perfection becomes how they're controlled. Does that make sense to you? Because now you will go to greatest of lengths to never be accused of doing something wrong, of having a past that you may have hidden. It's difficult. So the culture of failure, it's okay to fail. Fail as many times as you want. Those people at senior levels, someone makes some kind of accusation and they're like, well, let's deal with that. Like they've got that stoutness of, yeah, I've done something and I know how to integrate that throughout my life. This has been a lot longer and a more heavy bonus than I expected. But I wonder how that lands with you, because you want to plan a change for your organization. What did that used to look like in your personal life? And consider that, because it's not just the one thing. Like some people want to make the change and forget the past forever, but you're making that change for a reason. And if you're making it for efficiency's sake, make sure that your solution is not a fractal of that problem. Make sure that your solution is not recreating that problem for a later date in a different area. The same way you do that in your personal life, because you make a change personally and you don't want that to create yet another issue. And sometimes we do make those kinds of decisions. So thank you for your time. How do I switch? How do I switch gears? Help me. I want to thank you for spending some time with me, because I love. I love to teach, and I love to learn things at such fundamental levels that they are true at personal levels and at a business level. This is what I've done in the organizations that I've worked with, worked for. I think about things at the personal impact level, because at some level you're dealing with humans, whether they're your clients or they're your staff. I like to think about things at foundational levels, because that's the way you make things that are really strong and are able to shift into scale in the future. They help your people, and I love that the most, because when we help the people around us, we're influencing our communities, and strong communities need strong businesses. Strong businesses need leaders who are not burned out. So if you're the type of person, if you've got people in your organization, or you're the type of person that may be starting to feel stressed, starting to feel burnt out, I would love to have a conversation with you, and you know how to find that. So thank you for spending time with me, and go plan these changes. I'm excited for you. Let's go.